Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the best damn podcast you've ever heard, and that is Talks to Go. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday, everybody.
Ooh, it's been about
A while.
And I sound like a broken record every time I say it,
But
it's been a
for
while.
very good reason.
For
right?
very good reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not that long of a while, because we just dropped a new interview episode with the extraordinary Ana Cabrera and her father.
Ron.
Correct.
Yep.
I was
Ana is the morning
Ana
anchor
Cabrera, yeah.
on MSNBC. Mm-hmm. She's on from 10 to noon Eastern.
Yep. New episode is out on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts, wherever you get your damn
If you're an
podcasts.
Ana Cabrera fan, easy for me to say.
Yep.
It's must listen, must watch.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. So make sure you go tune into that. But let's hop right into it because there's a lot to cover. And it's been about a month since it's been the two of us. And I sort of dropped this information right before I skedaddled for the month of August and early September. But I was working at the U.S. Open.
Tennis Open, to be clear.
Yeah,
right?
U.S. Open Tennis Championships, to be clear about that. So I worked there for 3 weeks from August 14th until September 7th, and I was a broadcast production assistant in and for the World Feed. I wasn't in the World Feed. I was for the World Feed. I was doing that for 3 weeks, and I don't like it's,
so how was the experience?
Yeah, it's honestly so hard because I've been like trying to sit down and tell my friends about it, and I'm like, what am I supposed to say? Like, what do I even say? Do I start with the first day? How do I break it down? What do I start with? I mean, I literally had my first therapy session after 3 weeks, and I hadn't spoken to my therapist in the 3 weeks I had been working. And obviously it's only a 45-minute session. And I felt like I had to speed talk because I didn't know where to start. I didn't know what I needed to cover. It was just a lot. It's a lot to talk about. There's a lot that went down.
Yeah.
And not went down as in like, oh, it was bad. Like it was,
right.
Yeah, you know? So like, ask away, I guess.
Well, on a scale of 1 to 10,
Yeah.
how would you rate, first of all, how would you rate the overall experience?
I would rate the overall experience. Oh God, this is hard. I would give it a solid 7.8.
Wow, that's all? Really?
7.8 to 8.
Oh, on an 8 points.
On a 10-point scale.
On a 10-point scale.
Yeah.
Okay. A 7.8.
Let's
call it 8.
Okay, here's where I knock the points,
Okay.
right? Here's
Okay.
where I knock the points.
All right.
1.
Why it didn't get a 10?
Correct.
Okay.
1. I couldn't have a honeydews this year.
All right, so that takes it down a point right there.
I went 3 weeks without having a honeydews.
Okay.
And by the time I could have a honeydews, they sold out of the cups, like the souvenir cups that they sell the honeydews in. They completely sold out of them.
Before we go on, for those people who are not familiar with what a honeydeuce is.
Yeah, it is. The honeydeuce is the signature drink of the U.S. Open, and I believe it's lemonade.
Is it Grey Goose vodka?
Grey Goose.
Exclusively
Grey
Grey Goose vodka, yeah.
Oh God, there's a specific liqueur that they put in it. It's not. I don't think it's grenadine.
Okay, I'm
but
not sure what it is either.
It gives it that pink. Yeah. Reddish color, and then obviously they have the signature melon.
Right, the melon balls.
2
melon balls. Yeah.
3.
That's
3. Yeah, always 3.
Really?
Yep, always 3.
I thought, didn't it not used to be 2?
No, it was always 3. 1, 2, 3.
Well, I thought
on a toothpick.
Deuce is 2. So.
Deuce is 2, right. But it's 3.
Okay.
They always give 3.
Okay.
Yeah. So didn't get to have that this year. So I was extremely sad about that.
And normally those babies sell for, I think, what did they go for this year? $23.
They went for $23.
$23 a throw.
A pop.
Yeah.
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 It was wild. And you know, like I feel like every year as the US Open grows in popularity, like they they should have expected as such, you know? Like if you're not going to have the cups by the last day of the last match, what are you doing?
Right, exactly.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Come on now. Like, you know, this is your signature drink and you don't have the glasses to sell them in? Like, what? I mean, I don't know. So that was one
Okay,
knock
so that took it down to a
peg.
9. Okay.
So then we pick it down to an 8 because of the food.
Food.
The food.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I was a happy camper, okay? But when you're working there for 3 weeks and you're eating the same meals every day,
Yeah, you can get a
I mean,
little tiresome, right?
I sound like such a snob, you know?
Yeah.
Like this is such first world problems. But I'm just saying, in my opinion, the food gets stale. You know, you go for the same things for 3 weeks. It's not going to taste as good.
I will say, you know, while you worked there for 3 weeks,
Yep.
your mom and I, my wife and I,
Yep.
went out, I think, 3 times. I think that we were there 3 times. We went
2 or 3.
Yeah, I think 3.
Yeah.
I think 3.
Yep.
3.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, I'm not going to name specific vendors. I'm not going to do that. But
I know where you're going.
But
with
I
this.
was disappointed in the food as well.
Yeah,
I
will
was.
say the food, the one meal that you got that you really didn't like, that was honestly the most popular amongst the people I worked with.
Really?
Yes. And I know exactly which one it is.
Was it the one with shrimp?
Yeah.
It was, and that was the most popular?
That was the most popular.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
I will say my standouts of the 3 weeks. I honestly should have done more exploring. Like, I feel like I didn't do enough exploring with the food, but you know, there's always next time.
Right.
There's always next time, but I will give out some of my standouts. Standout number 1 is Pat LaFrida. And I will say the specific Pat LaFrida that was on the grounds, not the one in Ash.
Okay.
I'm not going to comment on that.
Okay.
The one on the grounds was particularly good, and what I got the most from there, and they're known for their steak sandwich, but that wasn't my order.
Okay.
My order was the chicken sandwich. And I really liked it. It was like a chicken panini with cheese, like sriracha mayo, lettuce, chicken. Yeah, it was really good. So that was my go-to number 1. So I was nearing the end of the tournament and I realized that I haven't done much exploring and I was getting money every day for meals. So I was like, oh, if I'm not going to have it now, I'm not going to, you know, pay with it with my own money. So I might as well explore. So during the last week, I ordered 2 different lobster rolls. We went for it, like the $40 lobster rolls. One of them was the regular one from Ash, which was good, Arthur Ashe Stadium. And then the second one I got was a lobster BLT, which was a little bit better. Yeah, it was really good.
Very exotic.
It was very good because it had a little more flavor in it. And then also during the last week, you know how there's like actual restaurants on the grounds?
Yeah.
We've never been to any of the restaurants. Never. And I will say the Heineken bar has pretty good food.
Oh, really?
Pretty good food. I got a quesadilla from there that was really good. And yeah, overall their food is probably a little bit better than some of the grounds food just because it's, you know, made in a restaurant. Whereas like the grounds food is, you know, they have to make for a lot of people.
Right.
Also had a burrito bowl from Dos Toros on the grounds, which was really good. And what else? I'm trying to think. What were some?
Any ice cream?
Yeah. I mean, the Van Leeuwen ice cream is, you know, it's always pretty good.
Yeah.
So I didn't have their honeycomb fudge slam crunch, whatever their signature ice cream is. I had like the dark chocolate fudge brownie, which was really good. Yeah. So that's why we sort of went down to an 8. And then there were some other reasons for which I will not say, which is why it went to a 7.8.
Okay.
So that's why that point 2, you know, it's crucial.
Right.
But yeah, that's why we're at a solid 7.8. You know, 1 because of the missed alcohol, 1 because of the missed food, and point 2 because of the missed, I won't say.
Okay. If you had to pick out a personal highlight during your tenure at the U.S. Open, what would it be?
That's really tricky. I mean, I don't
I think
know.
I know what it is.
I don't know. You know what it is? Like every day I was sort of just, or by the time the 3 weeks came to an end, it honestly, like, it felt like I had been there for months, but it also went by super, super quick, which I feel like happens with a lot of experiences in life.
Mm-hmm.
And every day I was sort of just pinching myself. I was like, I can't believe like this is where I'm working. I can't believe this is my job. Like this was my first ever, what do you call it, like a
Sports
foray
media.
into sports and working a big sporting event, and I hope the first of many, many, many. And obviously, like, we talk about tennis a lot on this podcast, and tennis has become one of my favorite sports. And so just being able to work, I'm like getting chills now, like just thinking about it. But just, yeah, being able to work there was like truly so exciting. And I like would pinch myself every day. Like, I'd get a front row seat to the best tennis in the world, and I didn't have to pay for it. Like, it was
Pretty
literally
cool.
where I was, it was literally my like office, you know? So that was insane. And I think just like there were many, many cool things about like working there, period. But as just like a true tennis geek, tennis fan, like just seeing the players around the grounds and not outside of the grounds, like, you know, not them playing or whatever, but literally just like passing them in the halls
Right.
of Arthur Ashe Stadium or passing them in the halls of Armstrong Stadium or wherever it is, like seeing that
To be
behind the
that up close and
scenes.
personal is a pretty
Yeah.
cool experience.
Yeah,
If
that
you're a
was
fan like you are.
wild. That was wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like like brushing shoulders with
See,
these
I think,
people.
at least from my perspective,
Yeah.
okay, based on the stories that you
I would
told
say. Mm-hmm.
us, I think if it's not the highlight, it had to be up there, was your time spent in the photographer's pit. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. And first of all, I think you have to explain to what the photographer's pit is.
Yeah. So I don't want to get too much into it because, like, I think it was allowed. And
Okay.
I don't, you know, like, no one, you know,
Well,
told
they
me.
can't revoke your credentials
No, they can't
now. It's
revoke my
done.
credential now, and
All right.
it's done.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like during the tournament, there was this girl I was sitting next to in the photo pit, which I will say what that is in a minute. But she posted her view from there while the tournament was going on and whatever. And I didn't try to make a big fuss out of it when I was down there. So the photo pit, it's not where the photographers sit.
It's not on the sidelines
It's
of the
not
court.
visible on court.
Right.
It is so if you've ever been to Arthur Ashe Stadium, or even if you haven't,
Well, you've seen it on
you have
TV.
the court.
You watch the matches
Yeah,
on
you have
TV.
the court, and then you have the backboards, and in those backboards are little rectangular windows, and there are
You can't even tell that they're windows, quite honestly, on TV.
Yeah, you don't know
They
what.
look like long black rectangles.
Correct, but
Yeah.
I mean, you know, there's tennis balls that fly through them.
Yeah.
So, behind those rectangles they have a camera operator. There's people that sit back there. Funny enough, there's actually ball kids that sit back there in case a ball.
Just for if I can make an analogy and tell me if I'm wrong, okay?
Yeah.
For people who are tennis fans, if you've ever watched Wimbledon, for example, right? I think that they have what they call the broadcasting bunker.
Yeah.
Right? It's
Yeah.
kind of like that.
Sort of.
Right? Because
Yeah.
it's very tight
Yes.
in there, the way
Yeah,
you explained
it's
it.
black.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
it's
dark.
dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no like there's lights down there, but in certain portions there's no lights. Because that would be distracting to the players on court. But yeah, then there's like ball kids who sit back there in case a ball does come through the rectangle. They like throw them back into play because they're, you know, only allowed a certain amount of like balls on court, which is why a lot of the times if a ball goes into the stands, you'll see them throw it back or ask
really? I
for it
didn't know
back.
that.
I think it depends on like the person and whatever it may be. But yeah, I did go in there a few times, and this was early on in the tournament, not during like any of the like major matches, like round of 16 and up. Like I was definitely there during the first week, during like the first, second, third, maybe even
But you saw
qualies.
Coco play.
Yes, I did see Coco play. I saw Alcaraz play from down there, and I only spent about like 15 minutes down there. But yeah, no, that was a wild experience. I felt like I
And
could.
give the listeners and the viewers an idea as to in that position how close
No, I literally felt like I could touch them and untie their shoelaces
that close
if I wanted to.
Right.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Like it was just, that was wild. And as someone who initially wanted to go into sports as a photographer, like I wanted to be a sports photographer initially, and I've moved past that. That's not something I'm like looking to do in the future, but just being down there, even as like a creative and sitting next to some photographers down there, that was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was,
And
that
as a
was an
result, you got a
exciting
cool
experience.
souvenir, right?
Yeah, I did take home a ball.
That was hit by who?
That was, so during the Coco match, it was against Donna Vekic. Donna Vekic was having a medical timeout, and Coco wanted to continue working on her serve. So Coco was practice serving from the opposite end of where I was in the pit. And she was serving, and one of the balls came into the pit. And it's so funny because when a ball comes into the pit, the ball kid will peer into the pit and ask for the ball. And I was sitting next to a photographer, and we were like, we don't know where it went. And so, the ball kid kind of just gives up. And then the ball ended up falling in between the photographer's legs, sitting next to me. And I picked it up and I said, "Look,
Okay.
hello."
So the $1 million question is, now that you got a ball hit by Coco,
Yeah.
how could you get it autographed?
No, I
by
know.
her,
I'm
right?
going to need to eventually, eventually.
Right.
I'll manifest it into existence,
Okay.
That'll manifest itself
Yeah.
into existence. I'm not too worried about that. But yeah, no, that was
I mean,
definitely.
if you were to send it to her or her agent, it's a good chance you'd never get it back again.
Oh, hell no. I'm not sending that away.
No.
That is
Yeah.
staying
Yeah.
in
So,
my
no,
room.
so that's a pretty cool souvenir.
It is a cool souvenir. Yeah. So I kept that.
Better than the honeydeuce glass.
Sure.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I like to get one of those every single year,
Okay.
Like
All
I've
right.
been collecting those every single year. So
Okay.
that kind of sucks. But yeah, no, that definitely was a cool part of the experience. And yeah, no, it was just wild. I don't know how else to say it, but just it being absolutely wild and chaotic and
Put it to you this way. I think for you,
yeah.
at least in this stage in your life, and this,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's got to be the closest thing to a dream job.
Yeah, for
Right?
sure. I mean,
Yeah.
every day was just like a crash course in, working in sports. I mean, the difference with Grand Slam tennis versus other major sporting events is that it is a consistent 2-week event. Whereas, obviously similar basketball and baseball with the World Series and the championships, like, those can last anywhere from a certain amount of days to a certain amount of days,
Right.
but you're not guaranteed.
And
You
they're
know.
not in the one venue continuously
Correct.
for 2.5 weeks.
Correct. So
right?
that's what makes tennis so special, is that it's like a consistent sporting event, and you're going to get tennis every single day. Unless
and world-class tennis.
unless it rains or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, no, it was wild. Like I still, can't believe
And I think,
that I worked there.
and tell me, I mean, I think you would agree, out of this, one of the nice benefits was that you made some nice friends.
Yeah, no, I got to work with some really, really cool people. And, obviously what's so cool is that a lot of these peoples,
Peoples?
a lot of these
Your peeps?
people, yeah, my peeps, a lot of these people are veterans in the sports industry. And so just asking, what they do outside of tennis and outside of the US Open and sort of what they've had going in their career, all of them have stories and have worked at other events. And so you'll just hear them sort of like name drop people or events in your you know, like my inner jaw hits the floor and I'm like, oh, cool. You know, people be like, oh, yeah, you know, just working at the Miami Grand Prix. And I'm like, oh, really? Like you are? Cool. Yeah, so that was the coolest part. And yeah, I mainly like became closest, I guess, with my fellow PAs, and it was a really nice group of people and a great group of people. And yeah, hopefully I'll get to work with them again in the future and maybe specifically again at the Open. Who knows? I mean, so many things can change in a year and in the sports world, and you know, whatever it is. And what I learned from this year is that I think this was the last year that ESPN has a deal with the Open. So I don't know in terms of broadcasting how that is going to work as of next year.
I wouldn't think. Now, obviously, I'm not a television executive,
Yeah.
so I don't know. But
You
I
would think
wouldn't
that ESPN would re-sign.
Well, no, I don't know about that. I have no idea who's buying the rights now, but I would think that would have no effect on the world feed.
No, it
Right.
wouldn't. If
They're
anything,
separate entities.
it is a separate entity
Yeah.
for sure. But if anything, the world feed might take on like a bigger responsibility.
Maybe.
You know,
Yeah.
you know, I have no idea how those deals go down, how they work. I'm just, you know, I show up for my job
Right.
and I do the best I can.
Now,
And
yeah.
Yeah.
Another benefit,
yes.
celebs.
Yeah.
Right? You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was definitely a cool part. I mean, just, you know, obviously going as a fan to the Open is one thing, and then going as someone working there is another thing. And just being on the backside of things, you know, see all the
Now,
nooks.
when you say the backside, you don't mean the butt.
No.
Right.
No, just the other side of
Right,
Arthur Ashe
right.
Stadium.
Kind of like behind the
basically.
scenes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You get to have access, obviously, to things. You get to see all the nooks and crannies of, you know, how the other half lives or works or whatever it is. So, you know, what the coolest part was that every day, like I could walk past it's not a red carpet, it's a blue carpet. And you could walk past there if I wasn't, you know, if I didn't have any work responsibilities going on in that moment, or I was headed onto the grounds for something work related and needed to go in that direction.
Wink,
You know,
wink.
wink, wink. If I needed to head in that direction, it would be cool. I mean, like all the photographers would be standing there. They always had a player arrival or celeb arrival camera that was on the blue carpet. And so, yeah, you might just happen to see some celebrities, and you know, as the matches get bigger and bigger, more celebs come out and more brands invite celebrities into their suites. So yeah, just happened to see like a handful of celebs, no big deal.
Cool.
Should I name drop?
That's entirely up to you.
Okay, I will say two that were like my favorites to see as of like right now, what's going on in pop culture. The first one is Olandria from Love Island USA, the most recent season. I literally didn't care about any A-list celebrity at all. Like I just wanted to see this girl in person because she's so beautiful and stunning, and she's like a little Barbie doll. And yeah, she's even more like gorgeous in person. So love seeing her. And then the other person I got to see was Chris Briney, who plays Conrad in The Summer I Turned Pretty. And he was there with his girlfriend, and they looked so adorable, and he looked great in his suit, very handsome. Yeah, and then there were some people that came often, like Jeremy Allen White like to show up, and his co-star Eben Moss Backrack from The Bear. They were, you know, consistent players showing up, which was really, really cool. Yeah, so that was, you know, as someone who's like big into celebrity culture and pop culture, yeah, definitely pinched myself a little bit every day in terms of that. But even for me, as I said before, like athletes, like the tennis athletes, you know, those are like, even for me, like I'll pinch myself when I see that. And not even just like the current players, but I would pass some of the commentators who are past players. Like, you know, I got to see Sam Query in the back lot, and I passed Martina Navratilova and Coco Vanderway and James Blake and
Wow.
Brad Gilbert. Like, they were just because their trailer would sit in the back lot, and so they would be coming to and from the ESPN set. And also Renee Stubbs, saw her a lot, so that was really cool. Yeah, also passed Chris McKendry under the depths of Arthur Ashe Stadium. So, yeah, it wasn't even just like the players or
Right.
like the big name players or the big time celebs, like just seeing the athletes who, just went out there and won a match or whatever, the people who do commentating, like a cool part about being a PA is for the broadcast specifically, is you get to go into the broadcast commentary booths in Arthur Ashe. And so one of the commentators for Arthur Ashe is Jim Courier, who is, one of the best American tennis
I
players.
think he's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
I think
he's,
so. Yeah.
he's up there
Yeah.
in terms of
Yeah.
tennis
Yeah.
requiem.
Yeah.
Like,
He's
he's just
tennis royalty.
Yeah, he's tennis royalty. And so I hadn't seen him all tournament. And, as someone who avidly watches tennis, he is commentating all the time. So I'm very used to his voice. Obviously, I know what he looks like, but I was standing in the lobby of the broadcast booth, and all of a sudden I hear his voice, and I'm like, Jim? Is that Jim Courier? And I turn my head, and he's coming out of the elevator, and I'm like, oh my God, it's Jim Courier. Like, just, you just see these people on television or hear their voices commentating, and then seeing them in person
But
is a
you
whole
didn't have
other
an
thing.
opportunity to actually speak with any of them.
No, obviously, like
Yeah.
they have a job to do. I have a
Right.
job to do. I'm not there
Good
to.
attitude. Good
I'm not
attitude.
there to like geek out on
Right.
these people. Obviously, if they say hi, I'm not going to be rude and not say hi, because like in essence we're coworkers.
Right, that's
Obviously,
true.
he is of another echelon,
Right.
and I'm just a lowly PA. But we
Don't say
still
lowly.
no. I'm a PA.
Right.
I'm a production assistant, so I'm there to assist and do what I can to help him and all of the other commentators and the stage managers who work in the broadcast booth. So it's not my job to geek out on these people. Yes, inside I am freaking out, but
Totally
I'm
understandable.
I tried my best to like keep my cool. It was so hard, seeing a tennis player not being like, oh my God, that's Ben Shelton, or oh my God, that's Coco Gauff. Like, I was definitely doing that internally, and it's so hard for me to keep a poker face.
So
my eyes kind of just like widen.
Would it be fair to say, not for all of them, but for some, you were awestruck?
I don't know about awestruck, but I was just kind of like, because for example, you would just literally be like walking in the hallways of Arthur Ashe,
boom.
and then you literally turn a corner and you're just like met with Ben Shelton, and
Wow.
I'm like, oh, like there he is.
Wow.
Like you're not expecting it. Obviously, these people are running in the same circles around you all the time, every day, all day, every day. So you're
Right.
like, oh, I can only assume that I'm going to bump into X person. But then when it happens, you're like,
so it's kind
you're
of
taken
cool
by
in that
surprise.
respect. There was no level of what I'll call no level of anticipation.
No.
It just happened.
No, it
Right?
happens.
You were in a good way a victim of happenstance.
A lot of
Right?
it is
Yeah.
being victim of happenstance,
Yeah.
because obviously if you're running around the grounds and if you're, walking through the hallways under Ashe, you're bound to maybe bump into a commentator, a player, a celebrity. Like there's no secret passageway just for the celebrity.
Right.
Like the celebrity has to walk amongst the people, or the players have to walk amongst the workers.
Right.
So obviously there's one section of Ashe that is blocked off to just players and people who have access to that section of Arthur Ashe. But I didn't.
Yeah.
And so sometimes they'll stick to just that part of Ashe, but other times you'll just happen to cross paths. And, there's only like a few ways in and a few ways out.
Right.
So sometimes you're, going to bump into these people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Any other
No,
questions you got for me? I don't know,
this episode is definitely about you, and that's okay.
okay.
That's all right.
I'm trying to think. I mean, I don't know.
Would you do it again?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. For sure. I mean, I think with any first experience, it's hard to know what to expect.
Right.
Like for me, I think that was the biggest thing is anticipation of, obviously I was super, super nervous because I wanted to do well. One more thing I do want to bring up and give a special shout out to is my nail artist. I'm like, oh, she's my
I
nail
thought you were going
girl.
somewhere else, but that's okay.
Where do you think I was going?
No, don't worry about it.
Okay,
It's okay.
so I want to give a shout out to my nail artist, nail girl, who I've been working with now for probably like half a year, I would
Okay.
say.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. Like time has flown by.
Nail
But
artist, is that what she's referred to as?
yeah,
It makes sense.
A nail technician,
Okay.
a nail artist. Like she is a true artist.
Yeah.
I will put them up to the camera as best as possible. Maybe I'll like insert a little video into the video.
Okay.
But I
What
wanted
you-
to get some special nails for the occasion, and so I got a tennis court in I Heart New York.
You went for the full tennis theme.
I went for the full
nails.
tennis theme.
Yeah.
A tennis net reference, and the ball, obviously. And then we went for we tried to go for a little green and white plaid moment that sort of, at some points looked like lettuce, like shredded lettuce. So that, that wasn't her fault. That was more on my end design wise. I didn't know what I wanted to do with that nail. She's based in New Jersey. She's based in Northern Jersey. If you need a go-to person to get your nails done, her Instagram is MALAK by Angels, I believe. I will link her Instagram in our description box. And yeah, I'm giving her a huge shout out. She always does an amazing job. I literally show her inspo pics and she always kills it. And I've never gotten so many compliments on my nails. Obviously, being in a tennis venue and working amongst people who are working in tennis, like I was using my hands a lot, and so I would, not intentionally, but they're on my hands, so
Yeah.
people would just be
That's
like, oh my god,
typically where your nails are, your fingernails are.
I know. So
Yeah.
people would be like, oh, your nails. And so yeah, I've never gotten more compliments on my nails. I'll be so sad to get them off and switch it up.
What's the next theme? Do you know?
Yeah, I do know. So the next theme is obviously my girl Taylor Swift is dropping her new album in a couple weeks. So I will be getting the Life of a Showgirl theme nails.
God.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is next.
Okay.
That is next. The Life of a Showgirl.
Okay.
I would be getting like fall type nails, but because my girl Taylor is coming out with a new album, I got to rep, you know, I got to represent my girl Taylor.
Okay.
So yeah, that is the plan for the next nail set, but she always kills it. And yeah, can't wait to tell her how, well, I already told her, I was like, everyone loved the nails at the open. So yeah,
Okay.
really excited about that. One last thing that I want to mention, it's not tennis related, it's not nail related, is I started watching The Office.
The Office.
You know what The Office is?
Oh, the old
TV
show, The Office.
Yes, the TV show
okay.
The Office,
Yeah.
not the UK version.
With John Krasinski.
Correct. John
right.
Krasinski, Steve Carell,
Rainn Wilson.
Rainn Wilson, Mindy Kaling, BJ Novak,
Yeah,
da 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 da. The list goes on. Jenna Fisher. The list goes on and on and on.
Right.
Okay. I have many bones to pick
Jeez.
with The Office.
Okay.
Have you ever watched The Office?
Never.
Okay.
Never. I haven't seen 1 minute of it.
Yeah. So sitcoms are generally not my genre of television. Obviously, we know The Office to be a beloved television show. And I feel like anytime I tell someone who is an avid watcher, who is a super fan of The Office, I say, I've never watched The Office. I don't think it's funny, blah, blah, blah. You know, I give it some slack. I get the, what? Are you serious? Oh my God, blah, blah, blah. So many of my fellow coworkers at the Open had watched The Office. And so I was like, okay, you know what? Now that I have a little more time to watch television while I'm sort of in the middle of jobs, blah, 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 I was like, I will give The Office a serious go. The episodes are short. They're like 21 minutes long, 22 minutes long. Whatever. We are I've probably reached about halfway of the second season. The first season is only 6 episodes, and then I think the rest of the seasons are like 22 episodes. So I'm about halfway through the second season. I can count on both my hands how many times I've laughed out loud.
Okay.
And I wouldn't even say laughed. I would say
Snickered?
a light snicker, a chuckle,
A guffaw.
And look, I am not trying to not laugh. Like I genuinely love.
No, you got a good laugh.
I
and
genuinely.
if you think something is funny,
I
you don't hold back.
I feel like I am pretty generous with my laughter too.
I would agree.
Like some things that aren't funny, I will genuinely laugh at.
I would agree.
And so I like laughing. I
Yeah.
mean, who doesn't?
Right.
Who doesn't like to be happy, likes to laugh, blah, blah, blah. I loved Friends. I watched Friends. I'm struggling. Like, I'm really struggling to watch it. And I will continue to watch it because I've kept my oath to myself that I will watch The Office. And it's not like it's a painful watch. Like, there are some shows that I've watched recently where I actually, like, legitimately just can't watch the show.
Yeah.
With The Office, I can watch it. I can bear through it. It's not a painful watch, but from what I gathered from people who have watched the show, they make it out to be like it is the funniest show on earth. You know? Everyone's like, oh my God, The Office. Oh my God, The Office. It's so funny. And the main comment I hear is, all you have to do is get to season 2, get to season 3. It gets better. That is wild behavior. Like, that is a wild comment. Like, with Friends, I was glued from episode 5, 4, 3. I'm on season 2, episode 14, maybe. I am struggling to laugh.
Okay.
I'm struggling to laugh. Another comment I want to make is that Steve Carell has never, you remind me so much of Steve.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, not in terms of personality. Like, his personality on the show is obvious. Like, you're nothing alike. You're not like Michael Scott in the least. But yeah, I think it's just, you're a white male with brown hair.
God. There are how many white males?
I know. No, but you
world?
definitely, like, when you were working at, your old company in sales and whatnot, like, it just remind me of each other.
Gotcha.
And one of the only things that is really, like, keeping me watching the show is the romance arc between Jim and Pam, which is John Krasinski's character, and I believe the actress is Jenna Fisher. And it's a very, like, yearning will they, won't they right now. And I'm like, okay, when is this going to happen? Because at this point, The Office has been out for how many years? So I know that they get together. I'm pretty sure they get married. Like, so I know it's going to happen at some point, but I'm like, okay, when is this going to happen? Is this like a season 2 finale kind of thing? Like, do I have to wait all the way to the end of season 3 before they get together? So, like I said from the very start of this rant, I will be watching, but I am struggling. And I am slowly hoping that more laughs will come from the show, but it is a struggle for sure. So, yes.
All right.
I've been doing most of the talking
that's
this
quite
episode.
all right. Look, before we
I'm tired of hearing my own voice.
Before we put a bow on this, baby, staying with the TV theme. This past Sunday night were the Emmy Awards.
Yep.
And I feel good because my favorite drama and my favorite comedy won.
Yeah, I've honestly never seen you so animated.
Oh man!
While watching someone win,
it made me feel good because I thought both shows were
tremendous. Say the shows.
I'm going to. We're tremendously deserving. The drama was The Pit, one of the best medical show I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Noah Wyle took home the hardware for Best Actor in a drama. Excuse me,
in a comedy,
right? In a drama. Catherine Lanaza, Best Supporting Actress.
Edie Falco lookalike.
Yeah, but she was fabulous. As soon as I saw her in the show, I said, "This is Emmy Award winning.
She's going to win.
Emmy Award winning performances."
Yeah.
On the flip side, comedy. You were the one who turned me onto it, and I thank you for that. That is The Studio.
Yep.
Hilarious.
I still don't think you've watched the first episode.
I don't think
show
either. I don't think so either. But it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, that one was the most irrelevant.
Tremendous. Looking forward. Seth Rogen. The entire cast. The
Yeah.
entire cast in both shows.
Did you see the interviews backstage where the press asked them, why didn't you thank Sal Saperstein?
Oh, no.
They asked Seth Rogen, they were like, okay, well, why didn't you thank Sal Saperstein? And he was like, he said, you know, we like to leave the jokes in the show.
Yeah, right.
And I said, okay, but everyone was waiting
Right.
for you to thank Sal Saperstein. Like, why didn't you thank Sal Saperstein?
Yeah.
But you know what? In the show, it took place at the Golden Globes and
Right.
not the Emmys.
True.
So if they were to do it anywhere, it would be at the Golden
Yeah.
Globes.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
will cut them some slack
Yeah.
there.
And if you don't know what we're talking about in terms of Sal Saperstein,
Go watch the show.
studio. You'll get it.
We're
You'll
not
get it.
sponsored by
Yeah.
Apple, but go watch the show.
It just made me feel good because, look, the fact that they won the Emmys doesn't necessarily endorse
Yeah.
my feelings, but I thought both shows were fantastic.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for season 2 of each.
Now, there are two other shows that did pretty well at the Emmys, which were Adolescence.
Which I
you
know I
watched.
watched. I don't know if I watched it in its
In full?
entirety. Yeah.
Okay.
I
And
know, but I know I started watching it.
yeah, and the other show is Severance,
That I didn't watch at all.
which I didn't watch
So
at
maybe
all.
I'm going to give it a shot.
I will not be partaking in the watch of Severance because I know it's more of like a psychological type
Thriller,
show,
yeah.
and those kinds of things freak me out
Okay.
and ramp up my anxiety. So I will not be partaking in Severance, but I
Okay.
feel like it is a show that you would like,
I'm going to give it a shot.
from what I've heard.
Yeah, I'll give it a
and
shot.
everyone raves about it.
Yeah.
Obviously, like
Yeah,
people
I mean,
can't
the show
shut up
that,
about it.
I mean, your mom and I have been looking for something to watch, and a family member recommended Platonic.
Yeah.
We watched a couple
What-
of
what was it called?
episodes.
Platonic?
Platonic. It just didn't grab us.
Yeah.
Just did not grab us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Speaking
so-
of one last thing.
Yeah.
I said one last thing.
I
This is
have
the
one more
last
thing. I have one more thing
Okay,
too.
and then we're gonna definitely wrap this
will
thing
be
up.
my
Yeah.
obsession.
Talk
so.
about laughing. I will never forget. This is years ago. Watching one particular episode of the original Night Court, not the new one, okay, but the original,
Yep.
with Harry Anderson and John Larroquette and the whole cast. There was one particular episode. To this day, I still remember this. Laughing from second one all the way to the end. I never stopped laughing. That one particular episode, I wish I could find it.
Yeah.
I don't know whether I'd have the same reaction today. That one episode, it was a laugh fest. It was incredible. Just one thing after another was just so funny.
That's how the studio felt.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, to a degree.
Like
yeah.
specific
No, it was the
episodes.
writing for the studio, the writing,
Yeah.
all of it.
And it was,
Top notch.
it was a win for us because it was a
Yeah.
win for an NJB.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. That's right. That's right. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's it. So, guys, thank you for hanging in there.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot of territory.
We'll call this episode One More Thing.
Yeah, yeah. We're going to call this episode One Last Thing.
One
Yeah.
last thing.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
we got so much to
Right,
say.
we've got a lot of last thing.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it.
Yeah, and we will talk to you guys next week.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.